Throughout America, there are many abandoned hospitals and asylums. Oftentimes, people go to explore those now abandoned buildings. And what they find tends to be the energy left behind from the people who once suffered. This is the story of the Glendale Hospital in Glendale, Maryland. Glendale Hospital was a tuberculosis sanatorium and an isolation hospital located in Glendale, Maryland, just outside of Washington, D.C. It was a large facility that consisted of about 23 buildings, and it sat on 216 acres of land. It was built in 1934 and closed in the early 1980s due to asbestos. In its early days, it was used as a hospital to treat people with tuberculosis. At that time in history, tuberculosis was ultimately a death sentence, and many thought that getting people out of the cities and into fresh air could possibly help. After tuberculosis started to become more controllable, the hospital was later used as a nursing home. In the early 1980s, Glendale Hospital was closed down and abandoned. And like many buildings throughout America, it seemed as if everyone had just got up and left one day. So many small personal items were just left sitting on counters, on floors, like no one ever had intended to remove them. Also, like many abandoned buildings throughout the United States, it didn't take long for trespassers to start investigating the area. Vandalism would become a problem, as many people would go here to explore. And as word spread, many stories started coming out that the Glendale Hospital had lots of paranormal activity. It quickly became known as one of the most haunted places in Maryland, as many people had reported seeing weird things, hearing weird noises, and experiencing weird events. Like many abandoned buildings in the United States, there have been claims of satanic rituals, people opening doors. Although none of this can be proven, it's just speculation. I might add that there are many abandoned asylums in the United States. Glendale Hospital was technically never an asylum. It served as a tuberculosis hospital and a nursing home. But there were still deaths here. And many people claim that the spirits of those who suffered from this disease are still here today. Now, this place is not open to the public, and technically, it's still guarded. It's kind of a hit or miss if you go and visit it yourself. There's usually security around, and it's about a 50-50 chance that you will get caught or you won't get caught. In fact, at one point, they even had a police trailer on the property. One reason they do not want you trespassing on this property is because it's very dangerous. Not only are the buildings filled with asbestos, but also they have been abandoned since the early 1980s. Any building on this property could technically collapse at any moment, and anyone inside could easily fall through a floor or have something fall on them that could result in serious injury or death. Ultimately, they've been talking about what to do with this property for years. At this point, it is owned by the state of Maryland. Ultimately, whenever something is decided to be done with this property, it is clear that all the buildings will have to be demolished. Now I want to talk a little bit about the ghost stories. I found this website where anyone can post a story or comments on this location, and I'm going to read over a few of them. Now, with anything online, you can't believe everything you read. Some people may want to make this more haunted than it really is. Personally, I've never visited this location, mainly because of the trespassing issue, and I just never really wanted to risk going in a place like this. But I'm going to read a few of the stories here about the location. So, this one person said, "Not just haunted, you shouldn't go near. Any sensitive person can be possessed, suffer hallucinations, have nightmares. This is the real paranormal stuff. Anyone who does go there should be cleansed afterwards." Now that to me doesn't sound like someone who really was there before, but is a strong believer and just wanted to post something about it. Let's go to the next story here. It says, "It was fun, but beware. First of all, be warned. It says open to the public," which I don't know where they would have got that from. Maybe somewhere online. But there's a few no trespassing signs and stuff. It was really pretty cool. My friend heard a weird voice whisper her name at some point, and there were a bunch of weird noises. When we were inside the building, I started to feel trapped and really claustrophobic. I tried not to say anything because I knew my friend would probably think I was just being a big baby. Soon my two other companions went downstairs and found this theater thing. I stayed up because I was filled with a ton of anxiety. At first, I thought I was just being a wimp, but it was different than just being scared. I started to not be able to catch my breath, and I wanted to cry. I was really anxious. Afterwards, I still feel anxious. It was a lot of fun, but I still feel pretty uneasy. My friend's phone started acting up too, randomly playing music and trying to connect to unknown devices. The next person's story says, "Not much, but still fun. Me and a group of friends went for the 4th of July in 2021 and explored most of the buildings, since there seemed to be no cops or security around. Definitely creepy and had me terrified the whole time. Walking through, everybody kept hearing hanging from upstairs and having small things fall on them from the ceiling. In one of the main buildings, we ended up using a spirit box to communicate and got a lot of activity and multiple spirits talking. After leaving the main building, me and one friend started hearing like faint yells coming from inside the building, even though we went through the whole thing and nobody was there besides us. All around, I had a great time, and I wish more paranormal stuff happened." Now these are just a few of the stories I've been able to find online of the Glendale Hospital. Now obviously, this has been a place that many teenagers and young adults have been visiting and exploring since the 1980s. So I'm sure there are many more stories out there. If you ever visited this location and explored it and experienced something, leave a comment below, tell your story. So that's the story of the Glendale Hospital in Glendale, Maryland, a former tuberculosis hospital, reused as a retirement home, abandoned for decades, and explored by many. The Glendale Hospital sits there in its own decay. One day it will finally be gone, but for now, it's just another haunted location. Thank you for watching. Until next time, this is Fixed Image, saying peace.